Well, I was told to come here and start these rooms, and like he was kind of vague about what all was what, but I should have just called him and double checked. But I started scraping on these windows, and um, I guess he really didn't want to. I don't even know if I was supposed to do them. So if you ever get yourself in a situation like that, say if the homeowner wants you to come in and paint the walls, and you come in and start working on a trim, you're obligated to finish it, even if the homeowner says they're not paying you. So you gotta be very careful doing stuff like that. This guy just so happened to say, yeah, go ahead and fix it. But like you can't go in and start working on parts of the house that they don't want fixed. So you got to be like, having to walk through it with the homeowner is like really important. It's like, it's kind of like where you guys get on the same page. Because if he's saying, just worry about this, I don't care about that other stuff. If he's saying stuff like that, then you know that it's just he's going to point at what he wants fixed, and you're going to fix just that. Even though, because like, he stepped back and looked at that base and said that base was fine. He said the base around here was fine. I think we're going to paint the doors. I think we're going to paint the door coming into it and the casing. And he said to add this wall and this wall. But we was only supposed to paint that wall. Which, like I said, I was under limited understanding of what was going on. I found out at 8 o'clock this morning that I was coming here. And in that process, I was kind of like just trying to get done, like trying to get going. But yeah, now we're stuck dealing with these windows. Not that it's bad or anything, because I love this stuff. I love this type of work. I'm very detail oriented, but it can take some serious time to actually get these windows done. You're talking sanding, caulking, priming. And that's just to get it one ticket priming. But we actually come in here a few years ago and worked these windows over before they was in just as bad shape. It's kind of weird that these, see this right here is, like I was talking about how these panel glasses are different than like low E grade glass. You could scratch them very easy. So you can tell where whoever worked on this sanded it and got too close to the glass. So you definitely want to stay off of it as much as possible, because you can scratch your glass off. You can be held responsible for it. But yeah, I definitely feel like 2 inches tall, because that's one thing we used to make fun of. One thing we used to make fun of people about is going in and doing too much work to something that we're not supposed to be working on at all anyway. I just did it. Like, all 3 of these windows I got to go through and fix now. And we wasn't supposed to work on them, so. From my understanding, we was just, like, he didn't really say nothing. He just like, yeah, I didn't realize it was that bad, so go ahead and take care of it. But I don't even think he had any idea. Like I don't even think he wanted it done. So yeah, you gotta be very careful with that stuff, though. Is what I'm trying to get at. But I showed him this window here. Just to give you guys an idea of what I was talking about. I started recording this video and I had to run out and grab my drill and stuff because there's some stuff I had to take off, and But I showed him all this stuff, and I was like, if we paint these, because I think he just wanted them touched up. I told him, I said, if we come through, I said, I said, I sprayed that big giant sag that was right here, but I didn't even realize that we wasn't really trying to work on them at that point. But he said this going to take care of it. I like working for this guy because he's one of the guys he really likes quality. Like, as long as he knows that you're trying, he's cool. Yeah, I definitely put my foot in this one. I'll tell you what, I've been on a roll. I fell out of the bathtub, threw paint everywhere. Fixing stuff that ain't broke. But if you ever find yourself working on these jobs, this is the stuff that you want to look for. Is anything that's bubbling, anything that's cracking. Sometimes you just need to crack it, then you can get into the actual bubble. But you don't really want to go past. You don't really want to go past everything. Like my old company, if we would come in here and we strip all this paint off and then start with fresh wood if it needed it. But we're not trying to go down that level. I think he just wanted to clean it up and repair anything that needs repaired as we're going. So, and that's part of working on big jobs like this. Is sometimes you'll go to a home. But yeah, sometimes when you go in these homes, one of the things we normally do is we come in and winterize it. So we'll come in and make sure all your caulking's sealed up around the windows and around your doors, and make sure all your seals are good and stuff like that. And if you got any paint that's peeling, kind of address it if we need to. But for the most part, a lot of times we'll go through and winterize it, and that consists of basically what I'm doing right now is come through, just clean it up. Because say this bubbles now, I would say this time next year, all this would have traveled. I would say within the next 2-3 years, you'll be scraping all this off too, because you can already see it's starting to lift. See how it's starting to lift off here? How it's got that bubble behind it. But it's solid, so we're not going to mess with it. But anytime you get a wrinkle like this, that's definitely ready to come off. And what it is where it holds moisture in behind it. And then it'll the water once it gets so much water in behind it, it gets this kind of loose and it'll swell it out a little bit, and then when it shrinks, it'll keep doing that over time. It'll dry it out and get it real brittle. That's why it sounds like, if you notice, it sounds like breaking glass a little bit when it cracks. It's because it's actually just really dry. Like healthy paint's kind of, I'm trying to think of the word, for it, but healthier paint, you can just definitely tell. Like if I put a fresh coat of paint on this, you can feel it's got a little more. It's not so tight and it's like right now where it's real super tight and shiny still. I mean, it's still got a lot of shine to it, so it's still got a little bit of life. But like I said, this thing's been painted 10 years ago, 15 years ago. So I wanted to, see how brittle it is. And once you get underneath that stuff, it'll start coming off. Can't really see it, but it's lifted up behind here. This is another one that I've seen that I haven't messed with yet. Just another little bubbly area. But like a lot of this stuff, you just gotta look around it. And you just gotta check it all out, make sure it's not getting bubbly nowhere else. Because if you come through here and scrape it, then you go to paint it, and you're like, oh crap, I forgot that one. You're gonna stop it and scrape it, save it, and go from there. So this top seals for this top of your head. You would never know it was like that unless you actually reached up there and did that. But you can also get a little two-step to get up there. This thing does not want to focus with that light coming through. Yeah, so that's because this dude's alright. Come on, man. Time to go. Get up. But it's always nice to have like a really nice sharp 5-on, or a lot of times I use like chisels. They cut right through that paint. But yeah, I see what I mean. Like, it sucks because when you work on jobs like this all the time, and you don't get like very good confirmation. They just say you go up there and start working on it. You assume the stuff gets fixed. But um, just in case if you're at home there, and well, just in case if you're a homeowner, anytime you got paint like this, it's not sticking in that. It's time to get it repaired. That's what a lot of people don't really understand how to say stuff. That, like, it's not that you guys don't know. It's just um, when you step back and look at it, when you step back and look at it, you don't think it's that bad. You're thinking, oh, it's just peeling a little bit. But watch this. I started out down here. And remember, I was telling you, like, this is bad. That whole piece wasn't touching nothing. That whole piece wasn't touching nothing. It was just hard paint. Because what happens is when this paint's sitting on there like that, and the second it lifts up, see how it separates? What it does, it just barely lifts off of it. Let's see. It's hard to do this with one hand. There we go. Let's see if I can do it. This will work. But when you got hard paint like this, it'll sit tight. It'll sit tight, you know what I mean? And that's not the difference in this. Like, I can see that here. If you can tap on it and it starts falling apart, it just tells you how bad it is. And this whole thing's the same way. That's what I was saying. Like, you can look at it and see that it looks solid, right? It looks solid, but underneath it's not even touching. Like, it's literally just floating on top of that wood. Watch. I'm gonna put my blade under it and start picking it up. There we go. Prime example. Yeah, see how you see underneath of it? Even though it looks solid from the top, underneath of it's not even touching. And the only reason why it was still sitting there is because it was attached to this piece right here. It was attached to this piece right here, so that's why it was actually still just laying there. And truth be told, this ain't even touching that. See what I mean? Like this stuff here is not even touching that. If your paint's not touching, if your paint's not actually sticking to the like biting wood, if it's not biting the wood, it's just laying on the wood. If that makes sense. And you wouldn't know because like you wouldn't even notice it, but this piece right here is the same way. You know what I mean? Like this piece right here is a giant bubble too. The sad part is this right here is solid. This one ain't. I can just tell. See how you can see how it wrinkles, how it rolls off that wood right there. It's not real. It's not like a real tight. Like this one right here. That's a little tighter. But when they start swelling up like this, the more they do that, the more you know it's not touching. Like I guarantee I can put that knife under there. Like right there's a prime example. See how it just shoots off. As soon as you get underneath that and put a little bit of pressure on it, it'll pop it right off. It's not touching it nothing. Right. And what happens here is all your condensation runs off of this. It'll run down onto this groove. And um, a while back, I made a video about how important it is to have your cut line go onto the glass and actually seal your glass to your paint because if the water hits it, it'll roll down it. And this is just a side of the window, like one piece of it. What I wanted to what you want to do is control the water. So when it runs down, it won't actually get behind the paint and get the wood wet. Because once that wood gets wet, paint really will start falling off, and that's what happens here. Is the paint will once you get something like this where the glass is not sealed, you get stuff like this. And what happens is your water will run down this and then make underneath that, and then once it starts lifting it, it'll just keep pushing it and pushing it and pushing it until it gets down here. It'll come from up here. It'll travel under the paint. It'll start getting that wood wet, and then it'll start traveling down this way. And it'll just keep coming. But that's what happens when you got one, two, three panels of glass right there. The water always runs down. So the farther down, you want to make sure that your coats are better put on because anywhere that water's on land, you don't want to get behind it to rot the wood out. It's really important when you get wood windows because if not, like say if he's like I don't want these windows fixed, I would say in 5 years you would start having wood rot. 5 years from now, you see the outside for sure. The outside, I guarantee there's some rot going on. This house it was painted over 10 years ago, so I would guarantee the outside's got some wood rot, which we've already addressed some of it. But I would say that the inside for sure, if it kept getting that moisture in here, it was only a matter of time before it starts rotting the wood out. But getting it off now and repairing it now is a good thing because you caught it just before it started rotting the wood away. And this is a tall time sign. Let me get this out of there. This is a tall time sign of wood rot. And just to give you an idea, look at that. I didn't put no pressure on that. I just slid my 5 and it just rolled apart. Like, see what I mean? And this is often water sitting like hot summer days, air conditioners running, and the windows build up a little bit of condensation every time. That little bit of wood. Once you get wood wet, you got to think it could take days for that to dry, or it could take hours for it to dry, depending. But if you can't see it, you don't know if it's wet or not. And that's what happens is once you get these like this, and the first time it does start getting it, I would say about 3 years after your fresh paint job, you would have to worry about uh, breakdowns of painting areas. Like some areas getting breakdowns, and a breakdown is a spot where it's spread. And that right there, it creates a bubble right there. It keeps spreading and spreading and spreading. It keeps lifting up, and that's what happens. I guarantee it. I guarantee what happened was the water ran down this and laid right here. The water ran down this and laid right here. Did you notice each one of these are bad? But this out here, it ain't that bad. So that means the window might be leaving a little bit. The window itself, the whole window itself might have a little tilt to it. Just enough to keep the, it's supposed to be built like not 100% accurate. So it'll lean a little bit because the people that build the windows want to control them. They know that they got to control that water that lands on that, because if not, you put this window in 5 years from now, you'll be replacing it because the wood rot. That's why it's so important to prime it and seal it. If you want your trim to last a long time, get a bunch of paint, get a bunch of coats of paint on it. That's what I ask. Thicker paint does help. Like layer on top of layer does help, as long as the first layer ain't falling apart. Like if I come in here and want to paint this, if I paint this, it's only as strong as this. Whatever I paint is only as strong as what's already there. But this here is a prime example of that right there's a prime example of wood rot. It's already starting to turn green. But this is just common stuff that a lot of people don't really pay attention to because they think it's not a big deal. It's really not. I mean, if you're one of the people who say it's not a big deal, yeah, cool. It's not a big deal to you. But if you're one of the homeowners who's like, I can't afford to have it rot out and have to replace all the windows on the front half of my house, you're going to be a little more attentive to stuff like this. And I'm not saying that you got to go out and pick every one of your windows and run them through the ringer. I'm just saying you can look at that window and tell if it's ready to get painted or not. And this right here is a telltale sign that it's ready to get painted again. You got one spot like this, just paint the window. Fix all the bad areas. Get a fresh coat of primer on it. 2 coats of finish. I wanted to get that off real quick so I can show you what it's doing underneath of it. I was talking about wood rot. This is a prime example of wood rot. This is the first signs of wood rot right here. What I want to do is get that little chunk of paint over there. I need to touch that. I wanted to get that out of there so you can see how far it already started. See what I mean? It's already starting to rot the wood away. That's not too bad. I marred it up a little bit trying to get that thing on there because that's what happens. That piece of wood collapsed, but it was like that all the way to the end. It was hollow. There wasn't nothing there. Like that piece of soft. You can almost put your fingernail through it. But that's what happens under your paint. Like it all matters as far as it is, but like um, putting a coat of primer on it and then caulking this in just to get caulking down in here. So once the water hits it, it'll roll off. And we have a nice little flow for your water and stuff. We don't really caulk it. Just I mean, the only real caulking is going to look cosmetically better. Just by smoothing things out and leveling things out a little bit better. But caulking is mainly so you get that nice little flow. Like you want that, you don't want that water to come down here and then go under that crack. You want that water to go down here and roll out and stay out here in this fresh, open area. But I know there's some homeowners out there. I know there's some homeowners out there that already know what I'm talking about when it comes to window rot. Like I seen, we used to go in some people's houses. They would have rags stuffed down in that window seal. Like they were not playing, and I don't blame them. Before I replace a window because it rotted out. Because like if you look at paint under a microscope, it looks like you can see right through it. Like it's not sealable. Like it's not 100% sealable. That's where the epoxies and stuff come in. It's actually a hard compound that creates like a sheet, like a shell. And paint is different. That's why if you paint it and then you paint it and you paint it, now you got them levels built up to it. So it's like taking, if you look at paint under a microscope, you can see right through it. But if you got layers upon layers, then it kind of like staggers it and breaks that up a little bit. And it does give it a little more build. Like the better the build, the better the paint lasts. So it doesn't mean you gotta come in here and just dump the paint on it. But a couple, like 2 or 3 kids of paint is not bad. But that's what happens when paint gets too old. When paint gets too old, it just pulls itself right off. It'll wrinkle right up, dries up, wrinkles up, and then next thing you know, um, it's it keeps it'll travel. Like it starts right here. The next thing you know, it'll be down here. Then over here, it'll be over here. Then you'll be scraping this whole ledge off again. It travels. But that water ran down through here and it ran down through here. Hit this one, ran down through here, and then hit this one, it ran down here and right there. And it's nobody's fault. It's just the nature of having wood windows. You know, a lot of people like clad because clad is it's actually a sealed window. Like a clad window, you're going to get way more life out of it. But a clad window also, it gets to the point where it gets so dirty you just want to paint it. I would say after about 10 years, 15 years, you notice it. This is like, you notice it's like super dirty and just cruddy and it just looks like crap. And you can power wash it 100 times and it doesn't help it. But again, I would guarantee a piece of plastic would last longer out in the sun than um, raw wood. But I'm not gonna keep you too long on these windows. I won't keep scraping on them. I just hope I give you guys a little bit of information on them as far as like what to look out for and stuff when you're getting them scraped down and like give you a little bit of an idea about some wood rot because that's really the main thing. Like even though that's like wood rots, once it starts, it just don't stop, and it keeps traveling, but you can definitely scrape the paint off and put a fresh coat of paint on it so it'll last longer. So if you address them areas when they start getting like super bad, just even if you gotta paint just that area or whatever, like I get it, but don't let your wood start rotting out where you put your finger through it, because that's what's gonna happen. I've seen holes in wood windows like this. Like to give you an idea, like I've seen this whole piece right here just gone. It was put up here. Like someone took a sawzall blade and just cut this part off, and this was all gone. That's how much wood rotted. But it's also an older window. It was an older window and stuff like that. But it's really common. Like once that window gets that big of a hole in it, there's not much you can do to it as far as like fixing it. It's easier to just replace the window. And then that consists of tearing this off, taking this trim off, pulling the window out, putting a new one in. It's a bit of a job. Plus, they charge you top dollar. Like wood windows are very expensive too, because it's all a lot of them are handmade. I mean, I think you can get some deals on them, but like to have that window right there replaced, I think they're $500-600 just for that. Just for that. That's not counting the frame and the bottom half. So it can add up. It can add up over time. So that's what I was trying to give you guys a little bit of a better idea on why this stuff's doing it. Like first off, why doesn't paint keep peeling? Because paint really peels like this because it's been wet underneath of it, and it keeps getting wet and drying, getting wet and drying. And then eventually it gets to the point where it starts cracking, and then it'll start rolling up. Once it starts rolling up, it starts lifting up, and that's basically what's on right here. It's actually lifting up. It's, it's trying to lift off the wood, but this little piece right here is actually holding it down, so it's not doing it. Where this piece right here would have fell off too. But yeah, but it did the same thing this did. See how it's falling off there? You want to get that old trashy stuff off there and put a nice fresh coat paint down. I was wondering. Um, I think these are all actually pretty close. Like, if you seeing that he caught it right now, you don't really have to worry about it too much. Like, once this, what I was worried about was making sure that we caught it before it actually starts getting worse from this point on. Like, we need to stop the rot now and then work and paint it. But for the most part, yeah, it's it can get serious if you're not paying attention to it. If there's a window that I get to work on, and if there's a window in here somewhere and it's got a lot of wood rot, I'll try to get a picture of it and I'll just put it with this one and just make one video out of it. Um, just to give you guys a better idea like what I'm talking about when it comes to wood rot. Like, you know, you got some people some homeowners just don't understand what you're talking about, and some homeowners know what you're talking about and want you to address it. So every homeowner is different. And you gotta like I like to walk around with them to see what they want to do because it really does give you a better feel of what you're looking for. Because some homeowners are like, fix everything. And other homeowners like just paint it. and them are two different levels. But if you can, just hit that subscribe button. Like I said 1,000 times, I'm trying to grow my channel, and I'd be really grateful for it. If you want to leave a comment, you're more welcome. Hit that like button. YouTube loves it. And have a great day.